Hey everyone, I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scott C Business, and today we're here with Steven Zambron, who is the CEO of Vibravid and the founder of Beatzcoin. Can you just start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Nice meeting you, Scott, and thanks for having me. Again, my name's Steven Zambron, CEO of Vibravid. Vibravid.io is our audio and video streaming platform. Um, a little bit about me. I have about 20 plus years background in music. I've been a recording artist, a producer. I moved on to audio engineering. Um, and in the more recent years, I've turned to entrepreneurship, and I created the Beatzcoin project in December of 2017. And soon after that, Vibravid came about, and here we are 2.5 years later, and project's going very well.
Awesome. So you've been in music a while.
Mm.
What's your? I actually dabble a little bit in music myself. What's your favorite digital audio workspace to use?
Uh, I use Pro Tools for recording and FL Studio for production. Um, but again, I will admit I've been out of that kind of space for quite a few years now.
Mm.
Uh, and I got more. I'm more on the business side of things now, working with promoters and managers, and I have a lot of friends in that department. Um, so yeah, it's been quite a while, but once Fruity Loops used to be my thing, I'd spend hours a day playing around with Fruity, and but I faced a lot of problems that most new and upcoming artists face. Is it's hard to get noticed, it's hard to get listened to, especially when you don't have a marketing budget behind yourself, and you know, also life happens. So I kind of steered away from some of my hobbies and my passions. But I still dabble around every now and again, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that's good that you sort of transitioned it into a more financially feasible like business, like
Mm.
you applied it in a business sense, so you still sort of kept the passion alive in that sense. So
Right.
what problems does Beatscoin and Vibravid set out to solve? Like obviously, for as you mentioned, it's hard for musicians and artists and everyone in that space. So if you'd like to talk a little bit about how it solves that problem.
Right. What's very important in our target audience is uh, more of the low end of the spectrum and the high end of the spectrum. Um, uh, we aim to help those that, as I said, don't have the ability or money to market themselves. For instance, one of our metrics is our bounty system, where for pennies on the dollar, you can actually pay micropayments to listeners or viewers and have them absorb whatever you're putting out there. Whereas otherwise, they may have completely overlooked you and not paid any attention to you. So you're getting views that way. It provides a good way to market yourself. And for those established artists that are already getting lots of subscribers and lots of views on some of these other platforms, some of these other popular platforms don't offer direct monetization, whereas on Vibravid, we welcome these people to come use our platform because you can charge whatever you want as the content creator for your streams, and it's an instant revenue source as well. So that's one problem that we're trying to solve. And also, second to that, I think the most important would be censorship. We're all seeing a lot of that lately, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, even Twitter. Um, these large companies and businesses, they're taking uh, they're disbanding freedom of speech basically, and in most cases, from what I've seen, and I hope it's not just my opinion, but a lot of these censorships are uncalled for. And again, as long as you're following the legal boundaries and follow a few terms and conditions, your voice and your opinions are more than welcome to be shared on Vibravid. There is no censorship.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that makes a lot of sense. I just saw earlier today Vibravid posting about how someone was banned from YouTube, and they just started posting on Vibravid now. I myself have been banned from Daily Motion and Vimeo, not YouTube yet, and hopefully never, but really no way to know for sure.
Right.
But yeah, no, like that's really really important, and we're seeing it a lot more now, especially with the crypto purge in
Mm-hmm.
December on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we've been talking mainly about the music side. Do you want to touch on a little bit more of the like the video content side? Because I think that goes hand in hand with censorship. I feel like it's more on the video content side. I don't see as much like music getting censored, but maybe I'm not as attuned to that like that community.
No, you're exactly right. It is more demonstrated toward the video aspect. And again, as I said, we welcome people with open arms to use Vibravid, and you will not see the censorship. Now, you know, as with everything, there has to be certain movements involved, and it's incumbent upon people themselves to make that sacrifice and say, we're not asking you to leave YouTube or leave Spotify or any of these other platforms, but you definitely should or need to move and try out some of these other platforms because it gives you a new audience, a new user base that you can create new fans from, and just basically gives you new opportunities, and it also safeguards yourself. I mean, you can build an amazing YouTube channel and have it taken from you like that, and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, just try contacting YouTube or Google. It's nearly impossible. You get links to help forums, you can send feedback, but there is really no support system involved. And this goes back to businesses that, once they acquire a certain level of success and these huge conglomerates and companies, they don't care about the little guys anymore. And that's what we take pride in. And a lot of our initial foundation for Vibravid and for Beatzcoin overall is to keep, the little people in mind with every decision we make, because that's our backbone.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And yeah, and it's good to just have it as like a backup because like yeah, like you said, anything could go at any time. And even in my case with Vimeo and Daily Motion, they didn't give me much of a reason. I inquired, didn't really hear anything back from them. And
Mhm.
yeah, they really leave you in the dark when that kind of thing happens. So it's always good to just have these backup solutions and just alternative means. So having Vibravid out there is a great opportunity for other creators and artists as well. So
Well,
why did you guys decide to go on the Tron blockchain? Because I think it's also like really unique because I don't know of any other music or video hosting dapps that are currently on Tron. So I think that that's really like cool that you guys are sort of pioneering that. So if you'd like to speak to that a little, and I guess I cut you off a little there if you wanted to say what you were going to say.
yeah, no, before I get into that, let me just reiterate a little bit. I think I got a little sidetracked there. But again, it's incumbent upon us as users of these platforms. YouTube's not going to be the standard forever. Neither was MySpace, neither was AIM, neither was Yahoo Messenger. I mean, times do change, and that's what a lot of us forget. And basically, what is happening is, I mean, not only is it good for projects and other decentralized systems that are similar to ours, some of our competitors, um, again, it's incumbent upon the users to move to these platforms and embrace the change and accept the fact that, okay, there's not 100,000 users or millions of users here, but everything starts somewhere. You know what I mean? And getting into your question, as far as Tron is concerned, um, we initially, I was a Tron proponent from the beginning, but again, at that time, they didn't have their mainnet functioning. So it was a risk. It was a gamble. Um, we dabbled around with Ethereum, and from our testing and uh, as most of us know, between the gas fees and everything, I'm not going to say Ethereum's clunky, but obviously it's, if you compare it to Tron, it's two totally different ends of the spectrum. Um, so I guess long story short, Ethereum certainly didn't work out for us. No matter which way we tried to work it, we looked into creating our own blockchain, which there was a lot of, of course, a lot of work involved taking on that kind of venture. Um, we looked at other blockchains, of course, and once Tron actually launched their testnet, and we got to use that, and once mainnet was launched, um, upon months of testing, it just worked beautifully for us. I mean, as you know, probably, blocks are produced every 3 seconds. I mean, it what Vibravid needs, and not just what Vibravid needs, platforms such as ours, you need instant payments, you need microtransactions. Um, no one wants to click on a video and wait for a smart contract pop up to come up and then agree to it and then wait for it to be, we avoided all of that with the way our system is developed. And Tron works very well for us. And at this current time, we don't have any plans to change anything as far as that goes.
Awesome. So, um, can you give us a bit of an introduction to how you got started with it, and just for people who might not even have really clued in entirely what Beatzcoin is and what Vibravid is, just give them a brief overview of what it's all about.
Sure. So obviously, Beatzcoin is the token that is used on Vibravid. There were a lot of well, let me start here. Beatzcoin was created as a token before Vibravid had a name. The concept was there, but we didn't have names. And in the very beginning, and you can tell by the name, obviously, we were more focused and directed towards music, and even audio, as in ebooks or whatever it may be. But audiobooks. Uh, and then, as time went on, we just decided, there's not many platforms out there that cater to both music and video. It's usually one or the other. And we wanted to kind of encompass that whole market, if because the ideologies are still the same. The musician needs to get heard. The new video content creator, they need viewers. So we set up these certain ideas and principles and incentives that will aid that. Basically making self-marketing a priority and making it affordable, while also giving options to be able to, as I said, charge for your streams. And soon we'll be working on ad revenue placement, where anyone who participates in that, I'm sure you may have seen with YouTube, for example, you have to meet several levels of criteria to be able to participate in their ad revenue share. You have to have so many viewers. You can't talk about this. You can't do that. We're eliminating all of that aspects. And when our ad revenue share program comes out, I think people will be very interested, because not only are we giving a higher reward of ad revenue share, it's going to be all inclusive and anyone can participate. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Awesome. And so what are some of the next big updates coming for Vibravid and or in the works for the Beatzcoin?
Yeah. Right now, one major thing that we're lacking is genres and subcategories. That's currently being worked on, and I'm hoping that's going to be released within the next week or two. Um, TronLink wallet integration, Tron wallet integration, that's also being worked on, and I expect that to be released soon. Um, as I said, ad revenue share, which should start development within the next month or two. There's a lot involved with the ad revenue share, and it's a it's a big project to take on, and it's going to take focus to focus specifically on the ad revenue share. So that means a lot of other things won't get done. So we have to get a lot of these small things done before we move in that direction. Um, what else do we have going? We have multiple accounts set up to where, for example, if you're a record label or a manager, you'll be able to manage different accounts. Um, we just integrated shareable links, profiles. The entire UI is going to be updated. The upload process is going to be updated within the next week or two, making it's going to be a totally different experience. We think it's kind of clunky right now, the whole upload process. And also we're adding different file formats. For example, right now we're only set up for MP4 for video files and MP3 for audio files. So we're going to expand that to WAV and WMA formats and some other things. And the list goes on. But that's a pretty good start of what to expect in the next month or two.
Yeah. So, I mean, people should just stay tuned and keep checking in, right? Is there a roadmap or a place where they can see where some of this stuff is? Is that on the website?
Sure. It would be beatscoin.io. That's where we focus all the information regarding the token, the project revolving around the token. We try to keep the two somewhat separated.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, everyone can go to beatscoin.io. Our white paper does have a roadmap. There's an updated roadmap on the site, and we try to stick to it as much as we can. And so far, I mean, for the majority, we've hit most of our deadlines, and we're very proud of that.
Awesome. Awesome. So where do you feel that they fit in Beatzcoin and Vibravid? Where do you feel that they fit in with other similar or existing projects in the space right now?
Uh, do you mean such as like YouTube or more
Um,
decentralized players?
I guess you could do both. Like, how do you feel it fits in with other decentralized platforms, and then how do you feel it sort of fits in the ecosystem with just the legacy platforms?
hmm Um, well, we're definitely different in many ways to some of the legacy platforms. For instance, we offer decentralized storage, or even if the content is removed from Vibravid. And again, there's a really strict criteria. Unless you're uploading something illegal or pornography, we're not deleting it. No one's deleting it. But otherwise, even if you did upload something that wasn't allowed, it's still going to remain on BTFS. It's immutable, basically. Um, Again, we offer the marketing incentives where you literally can't get that anywhere. That's something that's really specific to Vibravid itself. And as far as the decentralized platforms, I mean, we do have a couple competitors out there. Some that have been in development longer than us, and some that are sprouting up as we speak. And they're going to continue to. I mean, that kind of thing's healthy, and um, I don't want to set ourselves above any of these projects. Um, and I encourage people to use some of these other platforms as well, because again, the idea is you're looking for users, you're looking to get your content out there. So why not? I mean, whether it's 5 platforms, 10 platforms, of course, it takes time to do all of this stuff. But and we're also looking at ways where we noticed with DTube um, how you can incorporate your YouTube videos directly and things like that. So we're looking at different mechanisms to provide that for our users as well. Um, but all in all, we do think our idea and our platform is unique in several ways, most of which I've mentioned. And I don't think no one is particularly doing what we're doing. It's usually different directions a lot of these platforms take, which is good because in the end, whoever has the best, not necessarily the best platform, but the best way of doing things, which in my opinion, the priorities are inexpensive self-marketing and being able to charge what you see fit and add revenue share. Whoever does that the best is going to win in the end, um, and no one has to lose either. I mean, you have everything from Spotify to SoundCloud to SoundClick to there's all sorts of music apps. There's all sorts of video players. I mean, at the end of the day, all Vibravid is looking for is a small percent share of the entire market, and it's going to be a very successful project.
Yeah, yeah, and I think you guys are sort of unique in the sense that you have that focus on music and video, whereas most projects kind of go for one or the other. Obviously,
Mhm.
YouTube has both, but it's not so obvious. It's really video, but then it happened to become also like a music platform, whereas you guys are more direct about it being that. So,
Mhm.
where do you see both of the projects going in the next year, and then in the long term, assuming everything goes in really well, and in the most ideal future in like 5 years?
These are always the toughest questions to answer. But of course, we do have a roadmap, and as long as everything goes well, which things don't always go as planned, but as long as everything according to the roadmap goes well, I do expect us to. One of our projected targets is 250,000 users. We currently have just over 5,000, which again, Vibravid launched just over 4 months ago. And we haven't done an extreme marketing push. We haven't, I mean, of course, we're on Twitter and things like that and doing the normal things, but we haven't put any money into really pushing the product itself. And that, of course, is because we're waiting for certain developments to shape and take form to where it's a very user friendly and good user experience for everyone. Which, again, I think that's probably on the long side, we're probably about 6 months away from being to that point. And within a year, I would expect to acquire at least 20 to 50,000 users somewhere in there. That's my expectation anyway. Um, and when we look further down the line, we have things that we're working on: Vibravid Radio, Vibravid TV app. Um, we do have, that's another thing I didn't mention. Our Android app is currently being developed. iOS will follow later in the year. Samsung app, that's on the table. No set date to start development on that yet, but uh, when all these
Does
things come to
Samsung have
fruition,
their own app market, or?
yeah, it's well, not necessarily. I mean, it's all through Google, but for instance, if you want to embed your application on Samsung TVs and things like that,
Mm.
there's a different process.
Oh, okay.
Um, and again, it's all about users. The more people that use the product, the more that Vibravid is talked about. We continue to grow, and if everything does go well, um, I wouldn't want to overstate and say a household name, but we should be a totally different project within the next 2 to 5 years for sure.
Awesome, awesome. So I guess I was going to ask about the user base, but you just mentioned that. Um,
Mm.
and then I was going to say, where can everyone go to learn about this? But you already said beatscoin.io, correct?
Correct.
And then Vibravid is where they can actually use the platform itself
Yes.
and post and do their things. Okay,
Hmm.
awesome. Well, that's actually everything I had to ask you. And is there anything that you wanted to touch on or mention before we end this off?
Um, Anyone watching, I'd just like to invite them to use Vibravid. I mean, currently we have an explore button where you don't have to register. You can check out some music, check out some videos. But if you want to collect bounties or if you want to upload anything, of course, you're going to have to sign in and register. Um, and we keep everything simple. That's part of our philosophy. we're set up to bring in the non-crypto community. They log into Vibravid like any other site, and so everyone's welcome. Use the platform, make some new friends. Again, just over 5,000 users that are there at your disposal. Gain some new fans and subscribers, and grow your brand and promote your products.
Awesome. Yeah. So everyone, make sure to go and check out Vibravid, get yourself set up, upload some music, upload some videos, test it out, and let everyone else know what you think about it. Anyways, I really appreciate you coming on and talking about this. I think I learned a little bit, and I'm sure everyone watching learned a little bit as well. So thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, it's been a pleasure, Scott. Thank you very much for having me.
Awesome. All right. Cheers.